Okay, it's on. It's on.
Mary's nervous. There. Use the church in Utica. As
Good morning and welcome. Here in this place, all are welcome. All means all. Whoever you love, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever faith traditions you may have, if any, you are welcome here. With reverence, we acknowledge that we are standing on the ancestral ground of the Haudenosaunee people. Does anyone have an announcement that they would like to make? Dave.
No. Mary McGuirl. Then our group. Oh, who's going to make an announcement?
I think you have to do Zoom.
On September 16th, Saturday, September 16th, we're Black River Outdoor Education Program will be hosting us for an outdoor morning, afternoon of mountain biking, hiking, and a picnic. So we have about a half dozen people signed up already, but I'd like to see that triple. So please consider, the deadline to sign up is September 6th. And if you want a mountain bike, and the helmets will be provided, but I need to know your height. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else? I just want to make a little announcement thanking the folks who for months have been doing our coffee hour, and just mention that we don't have anybody signed up yet for September, which starts next week. So if you would be so kind to consider, the sign-up sheet is on the bulletin board just outside the sanctuary. Thank you. Our call to worship today is Searching the Path by our own beloved Jay Williams. Searching the path in the night, in the deep forest. Impossible but for the moon's illumination of the way, with its venerable trees and the water of life flowing among them. Oh, praise to thee, great source of insight. But then the realization came. The moon was not really the source at all, but only reflected a hidden light beyond itself. So it is with the origin of spiritual life. The light that enlightens every person flows from a hidden source beyond our knowing. Look again. Even a newborn babe can reveal that mystery. Our first hymn is 1051, We Are, from the Teal Hymnal.
What does she want?
Okay.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Now for our chalice lighting. Jeff
Beautiful
Chard
words.
will light our chalice with the words of Christian Schmidt and Alex Capon. We light this chalice for our children and youth, and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lit in each of us, honoring the light each of us bring into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together.
Maybe.
There is so much to love about this church. So many wonderful activities, climate action, LGBT and inclusion, social justice, anti-racism, neurodiversity group, and on and on. So, what makes our church different from other sponsors of such good activities? What makes us different from the Rotary Club? As I see it, we have a core of deep faith, faith in love itself. And because this faith does not require any specific dogma, we are all free to acknowledge and respect everyone's spiritual drivers. It's a beautiful thing. So today, I will share a little bit about the development of my spiritual path, funky as it is, and specifically one group of spiritual teachers that of late have influenced me. Like everybody else, I started out life as a free spirit. As I grew, I learned to judge. I think most people do. Gradually, the world became very dualistic, good, bad. I should accept, do, like, and favor only those things my little world taught me were good. I should reject and demonize all the rest, regardless of whether I knew anything about them or not. Like most of us, I was taught there were things about my very self, as well as others, that I was not supposed to love. And that's how we start shoulding on ourselves. Such judgment makes prisoners of us all. For a great part of my life, I was a prisoner of judgment, a prisoner of judgment by others that I learned to internalize. It was more important to fit in than to be myself. On the outside, it made me think I was happy, but deep down, my spirit knew it was not so. My spirit needed to be free again. I couldn't be truly happy while I was busy shoulding on everything, including myself.
Don't shit on people.
But if the way I had been taught to relate to life was not it, what was it? Thus began the great spiritual quest, which actually has been quite exciting. I have been fortunate to have been enriched by spiritual teachers from all over the boat deck. Christianity, from Jesus to St. Francis, to A Course in Miracles, to current teachers like Father Richard Rohr and Sean O'Leary, philosophers and poets like John O'Donohue and Hafiz, the earth-based and pre-Christian Celtic traditions, Eastern faith teachers, from Buddha to Muji to Rupert Spira, and the wonderful Jewish prophets. I was not bouncing around looking for something else. I was finding that every new exposure built upon the others. It was like living in a bouquet of wildflowers. Enter a group of spiritual teachers that I instantly relate to, right under my nose. Ones who adore living in life's mystery. The ones who know in their bones, in their very being, without the need for words, the sacredness of all-encompassing divinity, of love. So who are these wise spiritual teachers, these mystics? Well, there is a Native American proverb, being spiritual is remembering. It is remembering that the first thing that was gifted to you when you came into being was spirit. Jesus said in Matthew, unless you become like the little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Buddha said, what is done to children is done to society. And from Black Elk, sometimes adults think they know more than the children, but the children are closer to the truth. Have you ever noticed how quickly they let go of resentments? Have you ever noticed how free they are of prejudice? Have you ever noticed how well the children listen to their bodies? Maybe adults need to be more like children.
Okay.
And a Yiddish proverb, if the world will ever be redeemed, it will be only through the merit of children. Another Native American proverb, grown men can learn from very little children, for the hearts of the little children are pure. Therefore, the Great Spirit may show to them things which other people may miss. Kind of interesting how the well-documented spiritual teachers would all point to children as a source of wisdom.
Listen to your
So how
granddaughter.
is it that children have such a life-giving way of seeing the world? From what I can see, it's that these great teachers are not burdened by the scourge of ego, largely under 10 years old, not all, but largely, or otherwise they are so unencumbered by the shoulds. So here are some examples from my life where the wisdom of children has actually been life-changing. And I know I'm not alone in that. Anybody who has spent any time with kids has a million examples of the same thing. About 10 years ago, my then 9-year-old granddaughter was up from Virginia for a visit one summer, and we took her to a lake. And we had to change into our bathing suits in one of those little bathhouse places. I had not had a bathing suit on in 15 years. Well, I came out of the little stall and I'm looking in the mirror at myself, and my granddaughter, she's eager to get down to the water. And she says, come on, Nellie, what are you waiting for? To which I reply, well, I'm a little insecure about what I look like. To which she replied, you look like an old lady in a bathing suit. Come on. Well, Truer words were never spoken. I was an old lady in a bathing suit. Why would I be concerned about that? Whose judgment was of concern to me?
Children
A
always
bunch
tell
of
you.
strangers on the beach who I would never see again? Or was it judgment of myself that I learned to do somewhere along the line? It was in that moment that I understood the power of socialization, not over my head, but over my spirit. It made me think. And so from that point on, I started thinking about the many things that children say from their open, unabashed spirits that are really nothing less than the truth of life. A few examples of where such wisdom has spoken to me. My parents used to have a camp on a lake, and we were also a very Catholic family. So on any weekend, whatever extended family was there, we would all troop off to Catholic Mass. One Sunday morning, my son Sean, who was then 3, was acting up in church. He was bored. And so my sister took him outside to run around. It had rained earlier, and there were some worms on the sidewalk. Instead of running around, Sean went over to the sidewalk and he squatted down like a little 3-year-old does, and he started with his little index finger to pet one of the worms. And he said, "I love ye, Mr. Wormy." Sean saw the lowliest of creatures as nothing less than a new friend. How do I see the lowliest of creatures? In my life, the lowliest may be a homeless person, an addicted person, a criminal person. When I see a person, any person, how do I see them? Do I judge some as lowly and deserving of my snooty pity? Do I should on them? Or do I see them with respect and friendship in my heart? Do I love he, Mr. Wormy? Sean's lesson is pretty clear. When Sean's older brother Todd was 3, he was walking through the Grand Union parking lot holding his grandmother's hand. It was winter and the parking lot was slushy. And there was a little iridescent puddle there in the slush where her car had leaked oil. Todd stopped in his tracks and he pointed at it. And with great sadness, he said, "Oh, Grandma, somebody's rainbow melted." Now, he surely did not understand the actual problem, but he felt that there was one. He knew he couldn't fix the problem, but he cared, and he held what he thought to be someone's sadness in his little heart. Anyone with little kids has seen that when someone is hurting, they don't need to understand the problem. They know they can't fix the problem, but they will sit with the hurting person, maybe offer their favorite stuffed animal or their blanket, and just be love there with that person. When somebody's rainbow melts, how do I react? Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to be an empath, but Todd's lesson was very clear. Heartbreaking things happen to people I know and also to those I will never know. Whose rainbow is melting in my life right now? How am I showing up for them? Is my love showing up for them even if I can't fix the problem? One last example, very uplifting one. This happened about 35 years ago. We used to live at my parents' camp in the summer, where my mom took care of my kids while I commuted to Utica to work. And I drove about 30 miles to Utica every day. There was a house on Route 31 in which there lived a boy who had an obvious intellectual disability. I'm guessing he was about 14 years old. And he used to wait for a ride in his driveway, maybe a bus or a ride to take him, I don't know, it was the summer, maybe take him to a school or to a daycare program or something. And he would be there holding his lunchbox that always had a cartoon character on it. One day I had to stop to wait for the car in front of me that was stopped waiting for oncoming traffic so it could make a left turn. And that was right in front of this little boy's house. And that day he was not holding his lunchbox like usual. He had set it down in the driveway. He was dancing. This kid was having a joyous time dancing in the driveway. Nobody's around, he's just expressing joy. Unabashedly expressing his happiness. He was born to be happy, and he knew it. And now I knew it. And the lesson is so, so clear. We are all born to be happy, that happy. So what is stopping me? Easy answer. My own ego's judgment-based shoulds. Pondering that lesson, I decided to stop shoulding on myself. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes. Other times it's a lot uncomfortable. But other times it's simply delightful, and I am getting there. How happy I am when I'm not judging others or myself. When I'm open to the joy of being in love with the world and everything in it, like a child. It is in allowing myself to take a deep dive into a child's view of the world that meaning of life actually bubbles up. It is through their expression that I can be captured by that goodness, truth, or beauty of the things of life. Ego drifts away. Judgment, including self-judgment, drifts away. And the shoulds evaporate. I'm grateful to have landed in a church where there is respect for the innate wisdom of a child that says, the only thing you should be is yourself. So, the point of all this is that through the expressions of children, I continue to learn that we are all born to be blissfully happy. I don't have to understand life's mystery to love it. I don't have to understand you to love you. I don't have to understand me to love me. These little spiritual mystics teach us to look at the world not in the way we've been taught, but from the heart of joy and love. And if that's not a great spiritual lesson, I don't know what is. Our next hymn is 1008 in the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. rhythm in each of us, every color, every creed and kind. And we see our faces in each other's eyes. Then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When we tell a story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of art stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place.
And now for a meditation. We're invited to take a few moments to reflect on a meditation written by our own beloved Jay Williams. It's poem number 8 from his book, Dark Trees and Empty Sky. And after I read it, we'll take a few moments in silence to reflect. To see into one's own nature, to admit to one's own nature, to love one's own nature, that is all that really matters. And now the offering will be gratefully received. And now to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we meet again. Thank you. And our benediction today is The Sacred Dance for Life by Hafiz. I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy. My heart is too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to dance the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. O Sacred One, untangle my feet from all that ensnares. Free my soul that we might dance, and that our dancing might be contagious. Thank you, Bob. Now, everyone is asked to please join us for refreshments.